My name is Stanisław Frejlak. I am one-dan professional player and I'm from Poland. It happened 20 years ago when I was 6 years old. My dad taught me and he brought me to a Go teacher in Warsaw. And soon it became my main hobby. I was really excited about the game. From my childhood, I was a guy who really liked to play games. I was very competitive. It didn't need to be Go, it could be also chess or Othello or maybe football. Well, my attitude to Go did change with time. Right now, it is a big intellectual pleasure to me, but still, I really like this competitive component that I need to outsmart my opponent. Oh, it's very different every week. Like, not always I have time for Go. Sometimes I wouldn't spend any hour during a week. I played many tournaments this year, and well, from time to time I find free time and then I really like to study new variations, or maybe I am in a plane and then I have that big life and death problems book with me, and for a few hours I am just solving problems. But then on another week I am just busy with university work and everything, and then I would not study Go at all. Solve life and death problems. Maybe it's not enough, but it's the biggest part, maybe. And also, like, play a lot, just be involved with the game, do what you like about the game. But if you don't like solving life and death problems, then I have a bad news for you. Formally, what you need to become a professional player, you need to win the European Pro qualification. And this is a tournament to which only the top players by rating would be invited. This tournament takes place once per 2 years. So if you can get a very high rating until then you will go to the tournament. Well, I am not sure if any of the European professionals would be able to pass the pro qualification in China. It is very competitive there. So I got to know this when I was studying in the school in Beijing, and there were also two European professionals with me, Ali Jabarin and Mateusz Surma, and they couldn't really win with the top amateurs studying in that school. So with Chinese, it's difficult to compete for us. And with Americans, there are a few guys who seem to be stronger. There is Ryan Lee, and then the new professionals from this year, they seem to be stronger than all of us. But there are also a few more who we can certainly compete with and probably beat them. It was 3 times. The first time, it was 2017. I wasn't really any of the favorites. I was very happy that I managed to qualify to the tournament, but then I was eliminated in the first stage of it. And then 2 years later, it was already after I studied more in Beijing, and I thought that I am strong. Like, I came back after that training, which takes 5 months each time, and I felt that now I can really compete. So I went to Strasbourg and I thought that I should be the one who becomes the professional, and I didn't. Back then, Tanguy became professional, Tanguy Le Calvet, and I lost in the semi-final to Łukasz Podpera. And well, I think that that's fair. Like, I remember how I participated in that qualification and I was so stressed. I felt the pressure because I expected myself to perform well, and also I considered Łukasz my main rival on that qualification, and I knew that probably I might face him in the semi-final. And already when I was playing my quarter-final game, I was just all the time thinking about that semi-final. I was very nervous and I almost lost my quarter-final. And then in the semi-final, well, he just played better. I didn't really have chance in that game, so I was not strong enough back then. And then my third elimination was in 2021, and this time I managed to win. And well, it was a different experience. The tournament was also organized differently. We were for a week in Leksand, in that very nice resort, like holiday resort, at a lake in a forest. So you could really feel the atmosphere, you could calm yourself down and like relax and focus on your games. And also each stage was played in the mode of best of 3. So with every player you would get 2 or 3 games. And this was a very long tournament, the games were long, and well, I liked how it was going, how I needed to overcome, for example, my loss in the quarterfinal. Like I lost 1 game but then won 2 other games against Oscar Vasquez. And yeah, and in the end I managed, but the final was very, very difficult. Yes, but it was not connected to me becoming professional. So I moved with my fiancée to Germany, and I also found a job. And yeah, and in terms of Go, well, I am playing in many tournaments, but I was also doing it before becoming professional. Like this status changes a bit because, like for example, I would comment games on Twitch as a European professional. I would comment games on Twitch of the European Go Federation. So, well, but these are not very big things. I don't know. I have a different letter and a much lower number. Is our annual Summer Go Camp. It's been organized for almost 20 years, and I was there basically each summer, first as that kid who would enjoy it so much and play in all the tournaments and yeah, run everywhere. And then at one point I was already older and stronger, and I started teaching there. So I am teaching already for, I don't know, like 7 years, I think, or maybe 6. Also during the Polish Summer Go Camp, I invented the Tsumego competition, that I put the problems for a week, they would solve them, and then all the problems would be very, very tricky. And then we would have the final of the competition where people duel with each other, and they try to prove each other that their solution is the correct one. And there are always a lot of tricks, so people would think that they solved, but they didn't solve, in fact. That's a good question. I think that yes and no. So I remember a few years ago, a friend of mine asked me if I would like to go to these Asian countries to study Go seriously. And I said that, oh no, like this is too much. Like I don't want to live this life I have in Poland and just go there and lose these many months or years of my life. Like this is really a big sacrifice. But then I also told him that yet I am really motivated and I would like to be a top player in Europe. And I think that I was just unrealistic back then, and for me it wouldn't work if I didn't go to these countries, to China specifically. I wouldn't ever reach the level I have right now. Like this was a lot of serious training which I just cannot organize for myself. I cannot push myself to do it, to be with Go like 10 hours a day and very, very serious, and I wouldn't reach my level. But then, on the other hand, Artem Kaczanowski didn't really ever go to these countries to study Go. Like he was only for a very short period in one Go school in Korea, I think, like maybe it was a month, and yet he's like maybe number 2 in Europe, like one of the top European players. But well, I think that he is just a genius. Yes, of course. So I was in a Go school, and all the players there were basically younger than me. I was on a level of maybe 13 years old. So yeah, they would often beat me, and like a 15 years old kid would be often unbeatable completely. I started thinking about it right now, and there are just so many memories coming to my mind. I don't know which is a nice story to tell. Like I am remembering all these dirty streets and nice restaurants which we would go to in each lunch break. The restaurants would be very cheap there, so we would just eat and then go back and solve tsumego. And what like in this region of our school, you could at one point already see that you are approaching the Go school, because sometimes on the pavement you would see Go stones. We all played with these plastic stones, like not really great quality. It's not like Chinese not what Chinese school looks like. Not the expensive boards or stones. No, just these plastic semi-convex stones, and kids would play around with them, throw them. When you look under the desks in the classroom, then everywhere there are stones, and yeah. Before I went to China for the first time, I had this dream that I am qualified to the SIGO program, because only 6 players would go there from Europe, and I got a condition because I talked to Li Ting, who is managing all this stuff, a year before, and I asked her if I can join the SIGO program, and she told me that if in a year I become 6 dan, I can go. And back then I just reached 5 dan. So then I started studying a lot of Go, but also I thought that I would start studying Chinese. It was my first year at university, and I took Chinese classes. I was learning for a year, and then I go to China my first time. I try to communicate, and I realized that I cannot utter a single sentence. Like, I would put the syllables completely separately with the pauses, and it wouldn't sound like anything. So back then I couldn't communicate. I really felt like an outsider in the school. But then it slowly changed. I was there back then with Mateusz Surma, who is also a professional player from Poland, and he would tell me that I should go to these classes in the evening when a teacher comes, like a very strong professional teacher, and he comments the games in Chinese. And I would go because Mateusz told me to do so, but I would not understand anything. But slowly, after some time, I was picking up some words, some phrases, and then I would be more and more, I would feel myself more and more free. And actually now I can speak about Go in Chinese, but about other stuff in life, it's difficult. It's a very difficult language, even though I put a lot of effort in it. I speak Polish, I speak English, and I speak Russian. And learning Russian was so much easier for me than learning Chinese, but that's because my native tongue, Polish, is very similar to Russian. So I started to study it, and then I started speaking it with my fiancée, and since then I just grew so much in Russian. I can now freely communicate, I don't know, maybe almost as freely as English, and the effort that I put in Russian was so much lower than all the effort that I put in Chinese. It's a completely different thing. Like, it's also difficult to say what is better. It's difficult to compare these two things. So a teacher would give you an idea packed in words, and then you could recall this idea during your next game. You get some new perspective for looking at the game. And like, I don't know, like sometimes even if a teacher shows a move which is not the perfect move suggested by AI, but teacher explains the idea behind this move, it could really open your eyes. And then on the other hand, AI is so easily accessible, and you could just review all your games very fast. Look, oh, here I should play here, here I should play here. And like, even if you don't think much about it, you just get all these good moves in your head, and it changes you a bit. And then I think that the best thing you could do is that first you try to review the game yourself, to think again about your moves, then maybe ask a stronger player or a teacher if you have one, like this would be the best, and then they say their opinion, and only then also look at the AI and compare your ideas, your conclusions with what AI suggests. So for sure, it's very difficult to beat Ilya. I managed the once, but yeah, he's just very strong. So it's obvious that it's hard to play with him. But then I feel with a few players that their style is really difficult for me to overcome. And one of these players is Artem Kachanowski. He's playing a very proper Go, and yet he's so powerful. So he would do the proper shapes, and then when we come to the fight, he can also outread me sometimes. So I lost certainly most of my games against him, like almost all. And then another player is Pawel Lisy, and here it's a different story. Because when I play with Pawel Lisy, I feel like I'm playing a bit against myself, because he also likes chaos, he also likes to go into crazy variations, and yet he is better at all these parts of the game which I am good at. So how can I ever beat him? I managed once in my life, and then again I lost to him more than 10 times. Oh, it's that I cannot put my time in it. I cannot be full-time Go professional, and then I started a job, have my university, and I cannot really be this Go professional. It's Artem Kachanowski. Oh, this is already difficult. So usually when I play Go, I would try something new for some period of time. And for example, recently I was just playing 3-4. I was just playing Komoku, no Hoshi, but maybe it changes soon. And I have some fusekis which I prepared, like I know a few variations. And then one which I played already quite sometimes was Starpoint, and then 3-4 on the other side, and then a Dai Gema to the fourth line from that 3-4. It's a bit unusual, but it's an all right move, which doesn't happen that often in professional games, but it's all right. This is even harder. Like again with josekis, I would like to research, and I have quite some tricks prepared, and then sometimes the time comes and I show this trick to the world, and sometimes my opponent would find the correct way, and sometimes not. Solve life and death problems. I think this is what all of us lack. I think that the difference is the consistency during the game. A professional would really remember all the time during the game what is the goal that they need to win, that all the other goals are just means to that big goal, and they would be aware of what is happening on the board and wouldn't get confused easily. So this really makes a difference, because the game of Go is very long. You need to be patient, you need to keep your temper, and well, for sure, in a game between amateur and professional, it would very often happen that an amateur would get a good result in some fight. But then the professional would be patient, would wait, and and at one point, maybe the amateur cannot really hold it. So yeah, I think from my feelings when I play a bit weaker players, I think that often this is what they might lack. And then of course, like the border between amateurs and professionals is not really clear. Like the top European amateurs, they are on the same level as the professionals, or like difficult really to say if they lack anything.